Tanya, welcome to the Daily Check-in. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can you please tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, your background? How did your career go from wherever it started to where it is now?
I am the head of a training company called We Hack Purple, and we train people how to create secure software. And basically, I started as a software developer, and then I met an ethical hacker who convinced me to change to security. And then as I got to love it more and more, it turned out I was really good at telling people about it. And so I just kind of ended up doing the thing that made me happy, which was teaching and making cute videos.
That's great. You know, security could be a really, really dry topic. Like I've had some people try to teach me about security, and I like it total snooze fest, right? But it seems like you've got a real like some vigor for it, and maybe a little bit of personality. Where did that come from?
I used to be a professional musician for a really long time, and I was briefly a professional actress and comedian. And so, yes, I have a lot of silliness. So I just wrote a book called Alice and Bob Learn Application Security, and it's on Amazon. And so people are looking up Tanya Janca, and they're like, it's weird. There's this woman that has these albums, and like she looks kind of like you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's me. You can buy that too if you want, but if I were you, like you could just steal it off the internet at this point. It's
Whoa, I
okay.
don't want to. Yeah, you wouldn't steal a car, would you? Well, maybe I would. I don't know. That's it's funny that you should mention the musical background and because I also was in a number of bands in high school. Don't try to find them, please. But like that gave me a certain level of confidence to just get up and say ridiculous things and not be too afraid of the audience reaction. So I 100% feel you there. So the reason I wanted to have you on today is we're talking about what's the best career advice that you ever received. I know there's these moments in our career that stick with us. It's when you transition from one role to another, or a light bulb goes on in your head because someone said something to you. It doesn't have to be necessarily advice, but there are these watershed moments. So I'm wondering if you could share a couple of those moments or great advice that you received with us.
Yes. So a few years ago, so quite a few years ago now, maybe 5 years ago, a friend asked me to make a New Year's resolution. And I said, those are stupid. I don't do those. I just live my life the way I want to live it. And she's like, I want you to think really hard about it. And so my New Year's resolution was to do more of what I wanted and less of what I should, because I would do a lot of things that I should do. And so then I thought about it and I was like, I don't want to work at the Canadian government anymore. This is boring. I've been the top tech lead for like 10 years. There's nowhere up to go except management, which just gives me the chills. And
Hmm.
so I was like, I'm going to go into private industry. And I wanted to give talks. I was totally terrified. And so I just did it. I was like, people were telling me, well, you shouldn't work for free and give all these talks for free. I was like, I don't care. And then I got invited to speak in other countries, and people are like, well, you shouldn't really travel alone. I was like, I don't give a shit what you think. Sorry,
No, I don't care. Go
sorry.
for it.
And then I just kept doing more of what I wanted and less of what I should. And so then I was traveling all around the world, and I was like, you know what? I don't like Ottawa. It's too cold. The cold and the winter just really kills me. And my family's like, no, you can't move. No, no, no. And I was like, that would be like a guilt related reason to make a decision to stay, but what do I truly want? And so then I moved 5,000 kilometers away, and I live on a beautiful island called Vancouver Island off
Mm.
the west coast of Canada. And it's amazing. And I bought a little property and I've converted it into a farm. And then I even left my great big cushy job at Microsoft. I was like, you know what? I really want to start my own company. This will be so exciting. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, Tanya, you get paid really well. What are you thinking? And I was like, I'm thinking about what I want and what I truly desire. And we only have one life to live. And
Right.
so, yeah. And I started a company and it didn't work out. And then I was kind of burned out after. And so I asked all these people, like, I actually just basically put a Calendly link on Twitter and was like, hey, if you want to meet with me and like hang out, let's do it. And so I met with a lot of people, and then I just did all the things I wanted. So all these people told me, I really wish you would make training because your talks are so good and you know all this stuff about AppSec, and it would just be so nice to get training from a person that's ridiculously excited and bubbly and makes cute dad jokes all the time. And I also like will take photos of myself where I look stupid and then like make that part of a slide because I don't care.
Right.
And so I just kept doing more of what I love. And now I get to work for myself. And I got to hire my two best friends to my company. And then I've just hired a bunch of students. And so now there's a bunch of us at the company. And I get to work full time doing the things that make me the happiest with people that I think are totally awesome. And when I take a break, I get to go out on my farm. And I get to live on the West Coast. Just like all these amazing things happen because I stopped making decisions based on guilt and started making decisions based on what was best for me.
I like that. I like that. Don't make decisions based off of guilt. Make decisions based off what's best for you. Was there any other things that were sort of in hindering your decision making process? I know guilt does factor into it a lot, but were there other things that were in the back of your head that were sort of stopping you from doing what you want?
So there was definitely money. I was afraid of the whole money thing. So what I did was change a whole bunch of the things around so that my cost of living was very, very low.
Mm.
So I now live in an apartment instead of a house, things like that. I also was really concerned with first when I started giving talks and traveling around the world, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford this. Because usually you have to pay for your own flight and your own hotel and your own food. And so I just started writing conferences and telling them, like, I'd love to come, but I can't afford a ticket. And so they started sending me tickets and they started paying for hotels. And then before I knew it, so now sometimes they'll even pay me to come and speak because I guess like now I have like a big following and stuff, and because people feel I'm very good at the thing that makes me very happy. And so one of my professional mentors told me, he said, Tanya, the money will follow you. Just do the thing you love that you're really good at, and the money's just going to follow. I'm like, no, that's dumb advice, Adrian, but he was right. That's why he's my mentor and I'm the mentee. Um, and that was really helpful. Also, so one of my other professional mentors, so when I was quitting my first startup, it was a really hard decision because I'd started it with a friend, and he wanted to go this way and I wanted to go that way. And she's like, listen, your friendship's going to be toast if you don't leave now because you just keep pulling at each other. And she's like, I think you should start that training company that you've been talking about and thinking about. And I was like, what if it doesn't work? And she's like, here, Tanya. So the worst case scenario is it doesn't work out and like you eat ramen noodles for a few months, right? And I'm like, okay. She's like, and then you just tweet, hey, I'm looking for a job. And then the internet melts because, and then you just get this really high paying job doing something you love. She's like, so you
Right.
think you can handle that level of pressure? And I was like, you're the best, Kim. She's
Oh,
like, so
that's
your backup
fantastic.
plan is that you're awesome and ridiculously employable and you'll definitely get a tech job with no problem. And I was like, oh, that's true. That's not really that scary when you put it that way. She's like, do you have a bunch of kids that you're trying to put through college? It's like, no. She's like, do you have huge debts? And I was like, no. She's like, are there people like leg breakers coming to get you? And I was like, no. And she's like, then what are you worried about? She's like, just jump. And
Right.
so I jumped.
And it seems like you landed pretty well. So that's some great stuff that we had in there. You were worried about guilt and money, but then you made smart decisions about how you were living so that you could live within
Yeah.
your means while you were trying to make this transition. You had
Yes.
mentors who were giving you solid advice about what to do, sort of
Mhm.
allaying some of your fears
Yeah.
and pushing you in the right direction to be successful, but reminding you that if you think about the worst case scenario, it's actually not that bad.
Yes. Yes. She's like, Tanya, literally, she's like, I can't imagine if you tweeted, I'm looking for a job, what would happen? She's like, I just can't even imagine. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good point. She's like, you could get a job anywhere. She's like, if your brain became broken and you wanted to go back to the federal government, I am certain they would give you a spot in a heartbeat.
Right.
And then someone from the federal government confirmed that for me. So they're just like, oh, there's a spot open whenever you want it. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Oh, that's good.
Which is great, right? And actually, it's funny because like Microsoft was like, hey, if you want to come back, it's like cool. And I was like, oh, thanks, but I'm going to do the thing I'm really excited to try to do, and I'm
Right.
going to try to run my own company. And it has been such a blast, like getting just getting the feedback of all the people that I've been helping. And like, oh, I got a promotion because of this. One of the people actually told me he got a medal. So he's
Wow.
like, I did all the stuff I learned in your course, and the military gave me a medal. And I was like, yeah, I'm a brilliant genius. He's like, it's Tanya.
That's great. Super
It's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. So if people want to know more about what you're talking about, what website should they go to get more information?
So they should go to wehackpurple.com. That's my awesome training company. And if you want to follow me, I'm She Hacks Purple on every single platform. So either We Hack Purple or She Hacks Purple, and you're going to find lots of me.
That's awesome, and I
Oh,
appreciate the consistency across platforms.
can I tell people about the book just so briefly?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I wrote a book, and you can too. It was really scary, but I did it. And and it's about how to do application security. It's this topic that I spent so much time learning how to do, and I was like, I wish there was just a book. And then someone said, why don't you just write one? And honestly, I was like, oh, I can't write a book. What are you talking about? And then I just took the leap and did it. And it was kind of scary because I'm like, what, people don't like it? And then I got these brilliant technical editors and they're like, this is actually pretty awesome. And do you know what I mean? And so like just do the scary thing. And so now I
Right.
have a book for sale on Amazon. And so I just want to encourage whoever's listening, if you have this big wacky idea, start looking into it. Start planning, start asking people that you trust about it, and then take that just jump.
Take the leap. Take the leap like Tanya. That's
Yeah.
my key takeaway from all this. Oh, Tanya Janca, thank you so much for being a guest today on the Daily Check-in. It was really appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me, Ned. This was awesome.
You bet.